Welcome and good evening to the City of Shakopee City Council meeting for September 5th, 2017. Item number 1, if we could call the roll, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Luce.
Here.
Councilmember Lehman.
Here.
Mayor Mars.
Here.
Councilmember Whiting.
Here.
Councilmember Mokel. Here.
Thank you very much. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, and I'm hoping, thank all the residents and citizens that came out to our open house ahead of our council meeting tonight. Hope that everybody had a happy and safe holiday Labor Day weekend. And up next would be a special presentation by the Shakopee Youth Baseball Association. Mr. Reynolds.
Miss Polly will be presenting.
Or
on
Miss
this, sir.
Polly.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As you saw in your packet, I put a memo in there just stating that we've already accepted this donation from the Shakopee Youth Baseball Association, but they are here tonight to present the city with their first installment of their total donation for Tapa West baseball field that we just completed building. So we want a picture opportunity of them handing over the check. They donated $75,000 in total. The first upfront is $25,000, and then they'll do $10,000 over the next 5 years.
Well, great. We're going to have a picture opportunity.
We are.
Certainly, I just want to thank the Shakopee Youth Baseball Association. You have one of the strongest associations in our community. You've been giving back to Tapa Park for a lot of time, for a long time in our youth, and we very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We appreciate, the association appreciates the support we get in the community. Right now we have 500 current youth participants, and we're going to have many more future youth participants as the community continues to grow. So we're excited about this and the progress that the community is making on the fields. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Maybe squeeze a little bit. All right. Thank you very much.
Tough time getting girls through the drive-through. Just check.
That's actually, I'm sorry, that's our check?
We should practice that coming in and going out, right?
Should.
All right. Moving ahead then to item number 4 is approval of the agenda. Are there any changes, deletions, corrections? Mr. Reynolds.
Mr. Mayor, we have one approval to the consent agenda items, or excuse me, one thing that we'll be changing on the consent agenda items for September 5th, and that will be to remove 5A6 from the consent agenda and from the agenda in total.
All right. So noted. Are there any other changes, corrections? If not, Councilor Mokel.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
I have a second by Councilor Whiting. That is with 5A6 off the agenda for another date. Further discussion? Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The modified agenda has been approved. Item number 5, the consent agenda. Are there any additions, corrections, deletions, Mr. Reynolds?
Not at this time, sir.
Others? Councilor Lehman?
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
I have a second. The consent agenda will stand as modified, and before we vote, we will have a public reading of the consent agenda as modified. Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. These are the consent agenda items for September 5th of 2017. 5A1 approves the minutes of the August 15th, 2017 council meeting. 5A2 approves not waiving tort liability limits for the LMCIT property and liability insurance renewal. 5A3 approves suspension of City Code 114.11 to allow O'Brien's Public House to host a live band upon completion of required permits. 5A4 authorizes street closure, approves suspension of City Code 114.11, and supports the grand reopening event for Pablo's Mexican Restaurant. 5A5 approves suspension of City Code 114.11 to allow the VFW to fence a portion of their parking lot for their Oktoberfest celebration. 5B1 authorizes construction of a trophy case in the Shakopee Ice Arena lobby by the Shakopee Youth Hockey Association, Blue Line Club, and Center Ice Club, and accepts the trophy case as a donation to the city. 5C1 adopts resolution number 7923, which approves the reguiding of property formerly known as 12440 Marystown Road, and adopts ordinance number 968, which approves the rezoning to medium-density residential R2 zone. 5C2 adopts resolution number 7925, which sets a public hearing for the request to vacate public rights-of-way and alleys near the Minnesota Correctional Facility. 5D1 approves the Metropolitan Council Environmental Services SAC credit application for Cargo Van Gogh located at 7380 CR 101 East and waives the city SAC fee. 5D2 approves the Metropolitan Council Environmental Services SAC credit application for Teachin Family Incorporating doing business as Ace Trailer Sales located at 7480 County Road 101 East and waives the city SAC fee. 5D3 approves a quote and awards a contract to Northwest Asphalt Incorporated for the 2017 Veerling Drive Rehabilitation Project in the amount of $89,750 to be paid from the Capital Improvement Fund. 5D4 approves a quote and awards a contract to Northwest Asphalt Incorporated for the Munchow Park Trail Rehabilitation Project in the amount of $54,462.90 to be paid from the Park and Recreation Asset Internal Service Fund. 5D5 declares listed vehicles held by the Public Works Department as surplus property and authorizes their proper sale or disposal. And 5D6 approves a quote and awards a contract to Juergens Builders LLC for the roof replacement of the Levy Drive gazebo in the amount of $8,400 and approves a quote and awards a contract to Future City for the painting of the gazebo in the amount of $12,704, both to be paid from the Park Asset Internal Service Fund.
Thank you for the reading of the consent agenda. I have a motion and a second. It's been read into the public record. There will be no discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries on the consent agenda. Thank you very much. Item number 6. I would like to call on any resident citizen that would like to come forward and speak on an item not on the agenda. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, and welcome. Good evening.
Thank you. My name is Mary Dodgson. I'm a newbie in the Shakopee area. I have only been here 3 years. I last week brought a letter, handwritten. My hands and feet don't work anymore, so I have to depend on the old-fashioned ways. A letter which I am trusting you have received. It's dated August 22nd, 2017. Do you have one of those, a copy of that? Yoo-hoo.
We did have it in our packet last, at our last. Is this concerning the Main Street concert series?
Yes, but there are some additional things that I just kind of
Okay.
wrote free prose, as it were. I would like to just state, I need a timekeeper. 5 minutes, that's it?
Yep.
Okay. It is in the interest of health and safety, both communally and personally, that I bring the following to your attention as a city council. I have also had conversations with Angie Whitcomb, and I have had conversations at the place at which I reside, 205 First Avenue East, Apartment 317. The noise in the downtown area has become overwhelmingly disturbing. It has more to do with the ongoing activities that happen during the weekend to be specific, but also the concert that went on directly underneath my window, so loud that it knocked off one of my pictures. Now, Angie Whitcomb has graciously decided or consented to repair it. Can't waste my time on stuff like that, okay? I have written out some proposals that I would like to see you address, although it doesn't look like that's going to be a likelihood this evening. So I'm going to leave it in your good hands to discuss those at a different time, and I would appreciate a response by someone on the City Council. Mr. Mars, Mayor, you and I have had a short discussion about this, so you know kind of what's happening here. And with that, I respectfully say thank you for allowing me to speak. I sure wish I could see a smile. You look like my church councils used to look. Yoo-hoo, smile. Thank you very
Mary,
much.
thank you for your concerns, your feedback. If you have your concerns, you could give it to the city clerk, and then Councilor Lehman.
Mayor,
That's the original. No, and I have another one.
Thank you very much.
And Mary, Councilor Lehman would maybe like to say a comment.
I also do not hear very well, so.
Okay?
I'll speak up. Can you hear that?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I did receive your letter, and the record would indicate that I did forward that to the city administrator with some of my concerns reading your letter. And the process that I'm used to in the years that I've sat here is to give staff the opportunity to address those concerns, and that's where we are in the process right now. So
Okay.
your concerns are not going unnoticed.
Thank you.
You're
When you
welcome.
say staff, is that this group?
I deal directly with the city administrator on this.
Thank you. Appreciate the info.
Yeah, and if I may, Mr. Mayor and members of council, I did get the letter and forwarded it to all council members. We are in an incredibly busy part of our season right now. I would ask your patience as we continue to look into your issues and come up with some suggestions.
What would be a reasonable timeline for you folk?
Can you give me a week and a half? Can you give me a week and a half?
That's good.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing these issues to our attention.
You're welcome. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. This is a time when I would like to call on any resident that would like to come forward and speak on an agenda item not on the agenda, not wearing a Steelers tie, that come forward. Please state your name and address for the record and welcome.
In Pittsburgh, they call it the Stillers, by the way. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'm Mike Beard. I'm County Commissioner representing most of Shakopee on the Scott County Board. My address is 8434 Horizon Drive, Shakopee, right at the end of, I think, a sewer pipe you're laying in my neighborhood right now. Not for us, but we're getting a new street out of the deal. It's kind of fun to watch that progress move forward. Just as a county commissioner, I'm here to say congratulations on this magnificent new building, and that you got this done on a parcel that I think has been planned for some time. It's nice to see a good plan come together and actually work. So congratulations to you. Other than that, now just greetings. I could say a few comments about some of the things we're doing to work together on the transportation plan on 83 and moving the intersection at 4th and 83 by Anchor Glass will go to concrete. That's a good thing that we're getting that done. And see, there was one other issue. Oh, the business route 169 signs. We found those in the back of the highway barn and finally got them put up last week. So I know the chamber and the city have been looking to have business route 169 actually published through downtown Shakopee and of course signed on the ferry bridge and on the west end of town, and that's done now. So that's it. I'm here to say hi, welcome, and I will remind you that your own policy says that council members can't badger the witness, so with that.
Counselor Lehman?
I guess first, Mayor, can we waive the rule of not badgering? Commissioner Beard, the one question and comment I would make is there's some talk in the community about the pedestrian crossing
Yes.
169 to the high school, and if you could comment on that a little further. I know the city is actively looking at Veerling Trail on the south side of Veerling from Windmere to Fuller, I believe it is, as part of that. And expensive trail, we got to move a lot of trees and make some curb cuts, but the 169 aspect and
The 169 aspect, yeah, thank you for reminding me, Councilor Lehman. I was going to mention some other things about the entire east-west corridor along County Road 16, which is a county responsibility. But specifically over Fuller, I'm not aware of anything at the moment, which doesn't mean things couldn't be happening. What I am aware is that we directed county staff to prepare a grant application for an additional crossing on 169 at Marshall Road. You know, we've got the pedestrian bridge on the Applebee's side of the bridge. We need one on the Pizza Hut side, or the Pizza Ranch side of the bridge. You notice I tend to refer to food places. Especially with the transit station along County Road 16 there at the old Denny Hecker place, we tend to have people now walking up the west side of Marshall Road and getting out into the traffic lanes to cross over 169. We'll put an end to that by creating a pedestrian bridge. That may take a little while. We just started the grant application for that for some of the transit funding. Thank you for the question. Fuller, I haven't heard. I'll ask if we're going to do something along Fuller Street. Is Fuller Street still a county road? Or I know we have jurisdiction on Marshall Road, which is why we're pushing for that, which means there's going to have to be some trail built along there, and it's a little tight along there by Super American on that east side, but somehow we'll figure that out. Can I speak for just a moment about the County Road 16 issue? East and west, you know, there's been some talk around town about some of the crossings at the high school across 17th Avenue, where it's almost 8 lanes wide in some places there. Big issue last year when the high school was under construction. The parking lot had minimal parking and so on. We're hoping that the parking lot reopening minimizes some of that crossing there, but it caused us to actually take a look. Believe it or not, some things happen. They don't happen quickly, but we want to have it happen thoroughly and effectively. So the school district, the city, and the county are meeting together and looked at the entire corridor from Eagle Creek Elementary out in my end of town, on the east end of town, all the way to Jackson Heights. There's like 4 or 5 locations in there where we have some major concerns about little kids crossing the street, crossing a major thoroughfare that the county has built on purpose to be an east-west major thoroughfare for the city of Shakopee and kind of a reliever for 169 freeway. We're looking at some things at Eagle Creek where we've got new houses coming in. Some developments out there are going to create some new students, new people walking to that elementary school. On the Jackson Heights end, we already have a temporary crosswalk sign that pops up in the morning and in the evening. And I think there's an adult crossing guard there, much like there is at Sunpath, which has really kind of helped that. Now, one thing at Sunpath, too, that we have going is, besides the fact that it's only 4 lanes wide, there's also the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit when children are present, which kind of helps to rectify the whole business of you build a major thoroughfare so people can move through it, and you can't have them stopping every couple blocks. So the good news is speed limit when kids are there, which is generally only about a half an hour in the morning and a half an hour in the afternoon. The rest of the time, the street's pretty much wide open. But having that adult there with the vest on and with the crossing sign, number one, helps the kids pay attention and mind. Number two, the drivers, I think, have a little, they see it, they recognize the adult, they recognize the credibility of the situation. I don't know if that would work at the high school, but I know staff is looking at perhaps some flashing lights embedded in the road, for instance. And by even bringing some of these forward, I'm probably telling you more than I should at the moment because I don't want to raise expectations. But one thing that city, school, and county staff are looking for is a consistent look from one end of town to the other. So motorists that drive the distance will see the crossing at Jackson Heights and recognize it at Sunpath, or at Saks at the Catholic school. Oh, by the way, that actually is the one that has the biggest threat to the kids right now, not the high school. It's the crossing at Saks and Independence Avenue, I think that is, and the youth athletic fields there. And see, that doesn't fit the half an hour in the morning and half an hour in the evening, because all night, weekends, you got kids running thither and yon all over the place. So we're really interested in something which will probably involve a reconstruction there to create some sort of a median or a safe zone in the middle if you only make it halfway across, things like that. Sort of like Prairie and Frogger, we give you a safety zone in the middle. But all this is under discussion. Wise and effective choices will be made. It is coming. So I just want you to know that, and I want the folks that are listening at home to know that city staff, school district staff, and county staff have noticed the situation, and we are working on an effective and consistent treatment from one end of the corridor to another. So,
Thank you. Councilor Whiting.
Commissioner Beard, I think you answered all my questions. I want to thank you for taking a look at that and bringing it forward for the citizens of Shakopee and our children.
you're welcome, Councilor Whiting. One thing I might add is the transit crossing. I don't know the street that comes out of where the Marshall Road Transit Station is, but we're getting a fair amount of pedestrians trying to cross right there as well as we're having some issues with the bus traffic, people getting in the park and ride traffic, trying to get out at rush hour in the evening. And so we're studying that intersection for maybe a little more positive control down the road. Again, no promises. I don't want to tell tales out of school, but I just want you to know that all of this is being considered.
Councilor Mokel.
I want to thank you for bringing that up, because that was something that I've seen the last few weeks commuting, is that they're going right down into the crossing where there isn't a crossing, and going down into the transit station on Marshall. So it's great that you're aware of that already.
We're aware of it, and we're trying to figure out how do people want to move, where are they moving, and how can we build a sidewalk or a trail underneath where they want to go, so.
Shortest
and
way
do
to
it
get there.
safely.
Weston Court, I think it is.
Is that Weston Court? Okay, thank you.
Commissioner, thank you very much. I know we've talked about the crosswalks in the past, and we're going to talk about them again. I'm meeting with the new interim superintendent here this week too as well. I think that's a issue that needs addressing sooner than later. I think the parking made it appear worse last year, but they raised their fees, and we've been around schools long enough that you don't want to pay the fee. I'll park in the neighborhood, and then I cross the street. But I did want to thank you very much for that. I certainly receive a lot of phone calls on that. And if you could leave your phone number with the city clerk, then I can give that out. But thank you for your efforts and concern and equal concern on this matter.
Thank you. You're welcome. And again, congratulations from the county board.
Thank you very much. This is a part of a meeting where we ask residents if they would like to come forward and speak on an item not on the agenda. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and welcome. Seeing none, we would move forward then to item number 7, business remove consent, which there was none. 8A, city bill list, which was for our preview and review. There were some questions on it before. Questions got answered, hopefully. 8B, administration and liaison reports. Councilor Lehman.
I don't have any now. Mine are all next week. My meetings.
Okay. I do not have a liaison report. I would just remind everybody, we had a great open house tonight for a little while. We have another open house on Sunday from 1 to 3 at our new community center. Please come out and kick the tires, bring your suits, go for a swim. I think there'll be some ice skating available as well. Hockey season is starting, so come and enjoy our new facilities for all our residents. Councilor Whiting?
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, last Wednesday we had the MBTA board, the Met Council representatives were there talking about the transit portion of the 2040 plan and how that's going forward. That's about all I had.
Thank you very much. Councilor Mokel?
I also didn't have any liaison reports for this week.
Okay. Administrator report. Mr. Reynolds?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to say that, to remind everybody that we have our open house for the community center on Sunday. But
Okay,
you
great.
beat me to that, so that's
Thank
all
you
I
very
have.
much. Other business before this board, Counselor Lehman?
Mayor, it dawned on me when we were having a conversation about crossings with the county commissioner. School's starting now for this year, and I kind of envision that through the course of 6 months or 8 months that the staffs from school and city and county will work this issue over for a permanent solution, and I guess I'm just gonna put out there if our staff could work with their staff for some kind of a temporary solution for this year on them on crossings. Maybe some of them are already addressed with the crossing guard and things like that, but if there's ones that are unsafe for this year, that we take some kind of temporary action.
Okay. Yeah, this has been discussed, and I hear from residents a little frustrating that we need a little more traction, but the county's listening and planning. I saw a series of slides today that look great, but again, on paper. This week, I believe we're meeting with the county staff, and I am meeting with the school district superintendent, interim superintendent. So I have that on both my lists to bring forward, and this is not the first time we brought that up. So absolutely, okay. Other, Councilor Luce.
Yeah, I've been sitting on this item for a couple of weeks. I got cut off short a couple of weeks ago, and last week we didn't have any other business. I had it reported to me by a former fire chief that one of our chief's rigs has been spotted up near Mille Lacs Lake numerous times this summer.
Is this about employees not doing their job or things like that? Could you submit those in writing, email to the staff? We've heard that in the past.
I don't know where you heard it. I just heard it recently, so I'm just bringing it forward.
From a former employee that has nothing, no longer anything to do with the city fire department?
Retired chief, I guess. That would be.
Well, I know the last time you brought this up,
they're allowed 15 miles out of city to, unless they're going to a seminar or something.
I know the last time you brought this up, you said the chief's car or a company car was spotted in Belle Plaine. Did that a couple months ago, so.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead if you got a comment.
My question was, I thought we put GPS in the city vehicles.
We have GPS in some of the vehicles, and for council's information, we have previously checked out Councilor Luce's concerns, and they became unfounded.
They're not my concerns, or someone else brought them to me.
They're unfounded.
Being their conduit.
Okay. More? All right.
Yeah, I thought that, we have different codes in town, and we should be role models, shouldn't we, the city?
Are we all role models in regard to code and ordinances? I think we are. We are.
I'm talking about the city itself,
Okay.
not personalities.
More issues about what the city's not doing right or doing wrong?
Well, when it comes to grass and weeds, we let our property go way longer than citizens are allowed.
Okay. A couple months ago, you brought up the area by the mall where we have property and said maybe.
I was told it was ag land, and it's not according to the city map.
And you said maybe we could have a farmer come in and harvest that. And you're right, at the end of the day, it was all weeds. There was no value there.
No, I understand that.
And then, but it would be great if these concerns could be in writing and,
So everybody's supposed to put them in writing now?
well, I think that what I'm seeing in the last couple meetings, Counselor, is that bringing up what people aren't doing or the city's doing wrong. We're
holding citizens to these rules. Why aren't we held ourselves to that rule, and that standard?
And I'm mentioning that if you have a list, so you could submit that would be fine.
Well, as long as you're talking lists, we've been waiting for a mowing chart for 2 years from Public Works on stuff that they shouldn't be mowing that they are mowing.
If I may,
Mr.
Council,
Reynolds?
Mayor, this was something that was addressed at least a year ago with Councilor Luce. I can certainly rehash the emails that were sent at that point, but at some point I would hope that we could move forward.
Counselor Mokel?
I make a motion to adjourn to September 19th, 2017 at 7 p.m.
So in other words, I'm not gonna get a chance to finish again.
Well, if, you can submit your, I guess, your list of concerns or what the city's not doing right into,
They're
to
not my
city staff.
concerns, they're
No, I
brought to
know.
me.
And, you know, I do the same thing. Here, I have a whole list. I type them up and send them in an email to city staff.
Yeah.
Motion on the table. Further discussion? 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 All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.